Hello and welcome to The Dark Side, a podcast from Crafty, episode 3. I'm Lee, and tonight with me is going to be Nick and Ilya. How are we doing, guys?
I'm good, thank you.
I'm good as well, thanks.
That's good to hear. So let's have a catch up. Let's see what we've all been up to. So I'll go first. I've already finished all my BX droids. So that's 3 squads fully done and they're looking real nice. I've gone 1 with full shields and then 2 with the vibro swords, and they do look real sweet. And then this week I've built 3 units of Tauntauns and started painting them as well. So I've been pretty busy, to be fair. So I should have some more new units coming to the channel very soon.
Wicked. I've picked up a box of Phase 1 upgrades, upgrade pack. It wasn't in stock for a long time, and they've just been restocked, so I got one. So I've built and painted them, so they're ready to go. My ARC troopers are kind of on the back burner at the moment, so they're primed, and I've done a lot of the black on them. But I was just sort of experimenting on the Phase 1 upgrades. I want to do like a nice clean armor on the ARC troopers. I was trying to work out a nice good mix of null oil. Just to I don't want them looking too grimy. I want them to be like nice and shiny. But I think I figured it out now. So I think they're gonna be next.
What mix did you go for?
Say again.
What mix did you mix with the new new oil?
So I've got a 5-to-1 mix of Lamia and null oil. So it still leaves the armor quite nice and like white, bright. Okay. And it still darkens the recess areas pretty well. So there's not a lot to do after that then. So just some highlighting and off you go.
Yeah, good. Do they look nice?
Yeah. I'll send you some pictures. But the shotgun trooper looks really nice. It's a nice looking model anyway. But I'm quite proud of him. And I only started painting the start of this year, really, like March or something. And when I look at like the first models are painted and like the last models are painted, you can see the progression. So I'm quite happy with that, really.
When you can see the progression in your painting, it's always nice to look back at like your first stuff that you painted all the way to where you're up to now. Even me, I've been painting for like years, but I look back at the first Legion things that I painted, like the Luke Skywalker Commander, and then I look at like the Cad Bane that I painted, and there's a big difference still in the paint work. It's nice to see when you got that progression in your work. So
yeah, I think I'm a lot more open to just having a try, just having a blast with different things, because I'm not just trying to kind of like bang them out and get them done. I'm taking my time now to kind of experiment with different colors and different washes and stuff like that. So I'm not as afraid of kind of messing it up, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. Trial and error. That's years ago. That was it. There was no like going on YouTube and watching painting tutorials and stuff like that. You used to I'd buy my minis from Games Workshop. You'd have the pictures on the box, and you try and paint them how they looked on the box, and that was it. Obviously, you don't have to do that now, but that's how I learned these things. And then, to be fair, in my head, they always looked like the pictures on the box, but then when I look back at them now, they look nothing like the box at all, and they're terrible. But it's fine. I don't mind. What about you, Nick? What have you been up to?
A bit of editing, doing the battle reports. Started printing some stuff off for the new map we've got planned, but I won't spoil that just yet.
Yeah, keep that under wraps and we'll see where we go with that.
I've just been speaking to a few companies as well, just trying to sort some stuff out, but keep it all on the down low.
Yeah, staying busy. Brings us on to the battle report that came out this week, and it's an action-packed one from term 1 all the way for as long as it lasts. We have a new player joining Crafty Terrain, Adam, and he takes on Steve, who was riding high from his victory against myself. And that's I don't know if you've both. I know Nick has. You've watched it as well, haven't you?
Yeah. I've just finished. Yeah.
Won't drop any spoilers, but there's dice flying from turn 1 all the way up until the end, and both of them enjoyed it. And I think more importantly than the game was like fun with lots of swingy dice as well as like consistent good dice. I think it was nice to see a new player, Adam, who's never played before, enjoying Legion and learning Legion, and he's really like trying to pick up the game. He's always messaging, asking questions or like about unit cards and stuff like that, and building lists. He's took to the game really well, and that's good to see.
No, it's a good battle report to watch. There's a lot of action going on, and it's two good lists as well. So Adam's list is like pretty strong list, like quite up there, in terms of like how competitive it is.
Yeah, it's a rebel. It's basically like the rebel meta, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very good list. Yeah.
And then Steve's just playing like your standard shore troopers. He's got some Imperial Special Forces and Krennic and Iden and mortars and shores and stuff, and a few snipers. But it does make for an action-packed game, and it's nice to see our little community continue to grow. I think that's us up to about 11 players, 12 players potentially now within our little play group, which is, within a year period to go from 0 players to 12 is pretty good, to be fair. I'm really happy with it.
I mean, yeah, in the middle of, COVID as well, kind of thing. So nothing's been going on. Like, we've just kind of played it, round your house when we was able to.
When we can.
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of Legion in other places is kind of like on a back burner. It's kind of like dying out slowly, because the shops are not open. Like, people are not meeting up to play. So we're actually quite fortunate that we've got a table ourselves, and we can just come around and set up different mats with different terrain, and we can play because some people have not played the game in about 6 months, I guess.
Yeah, an actual that's what everyone's been getting onto TTS, haven't they? And I know that's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's better than nothing, I guess, in these times.
TTS is a word,
and from
TTS is a weird animal. Like, as much as I enjoy Legion, like playing in TTS for me is a bit difficult as well. But yeah, I mean, it's better than nothing if you're just stuck in it, in your house. Go for it.
Yeah. What was you going to say?
Yeah, I see it more as to mess around with lists and stuff more than an actual competitive game. I've played Adam a few times, and it's helping him learn the game. But he's even said that it's completely different to when he's actually on the table.
It's very different. I mean, it's like you're playing with the same rules and the same units, but it just feels like a different game. I mean, just it's like playing a video game versus playing chess kind of thing.
So we've had a lot of news recently. We've had some leaks. We've had some updates from Alex Davey and stuff about what's going on. So I think the biggest two things that we know that's coming now, not leaks, but have been released by FFG, are Anakin, and he's been fully spoiled, and Maul got fully spoiled. So that's going to be what we're going to talk about in tonight's episode. So we'll come back to that. But we've also had Lando's been spoiled, so we've seen the box art and the mini, and he looks super cool, and I've been looking forward to getting Lando for a long time. I think he's a cool character in Star Wars, so hopefully we get a good job there. And then if anyone's familiar with Star Wars Rebels, we're getting Agent Callus from Rebels. Are you looking forward to them two guys?
Just a quick question, because I'm not aware of this. Is Lando an operative or a general in this? Do you know?
Yeah, he's a commander.
He's a commander. Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, I think it's cool. I think Lando's a character that loads of people wanted to see. So, and I think potentially we'll get maybe multiple of him. Like, we've got multiple Lukes. But he seems to be like a fan favorite, so it'll be cool to see him.
Yeah, he's just a smooth scoundrel, and I think everybody likes that. But I do think that it has been spoiled that Callus is going to have a floor card like that Anakin's got. Yeah. I'm not sure how true that is, but it's a potential. So I don't want to drop any spoilers on Star Wars Rebels, but if anyone's listening and you've not watched Rebels and you're planning on watching it, there's spoiler coming up. So press pause or press skip a little bit now. But Callus in Rebels, he's a traitor in Rebels. He turns.
I didn't know that.
Turns side. So Yeah, they think that that's what his flaw is going to be. But then also, I was thinking in my head, and I don't know if could happen, but Lando's a bit of a traitor as well, isn't he? Because in Empire Strikes Back, he hands Han over to Vader, don't he, at Cloud City?
Yeah.
So maybe they could play on that two things as they're both releasing with each other. So that's something that could
So
be.
if you think they could both have a floor card, maybe.
Maybe, or have some sort of rule like that. I don't know. It could be interesting, but yeah, I just thought maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
And then we know in November now as well, when Anakin and Maul release, that we're getting our errata on the rules and the unit changes and stuff. So we're going to see quite a lot of points changes and stuff like that. So I am quite excited about that.
Yeah, so there was an interview with Alex Davey over on the Legion Academy channel. So if you guys are interested, it's a really good watch. Just go and check it out. But he's talking about I think mid-November potentially. A lot of changes will be happening to all the units. They're talking about balancing the clones a little bit as well. So potentially stuff going up, maybe some rules changes. Obviously, we don't know anything yet, but there's a lot of speculation about the standby sharing, just token sharing in general. But yeah, let's not get into that because it's just it's a never-ending it's a never-ending story.
It's an endless rabbit hole that is. We'll be going all night, but I think the Rebels are going to see the biggest changes. I think they've got a lot of units that need to be rebalanced from Rebel commandos. I don't mean the sniper teams. I mean like the full commando unit that you can take. Wookiees, there's a lot in there, but I think for me, the one that I'm most excited about and want to use more in the game, but it's just the point cost that puts me off, is Han Solo.
Yeah. I think they address. I think he talks about all that. I think the airspeed is another thing he brings up in that interview. But I think potentially we're going to see quite a lot of point drops, and maybe some stuff will go up in points for other factions too.
Yeah, I mean, if we can get Han Solo at around the 80 points mark, I think you'll see a lot more of Han.
Yeah, I just think that some of the units, and I think I'd rather see them make some units better rather than just drop the points, rather than cheaper. I mean, like some units, even if you drop in price, are still the same units, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I don't know how they're gonna do that. But I imagine that's not gonna happen. So it's probably just a point rebalance because it's much easier.
And that's it. I think the reason that they don't do that, Lee, is because of the keywords on cards and stuff like that. To add keywords and stuff just becomes more difficult for people when you buy a box and the card's not the same and it hasn't got the keywords. It's just harder to manage than if it's just the points adjustments before. Because I know X-Wing went through that problem, I think, and that's why they relaunched X-Wing with all new cards. I don't know that for sure. I don't know enough about the X-Wing game. But I know that there are like X-Wing 0.0 or 0.2. They're in a different version of the game because of rebalancing and keywords on cards.
No, I get that, but there's some interesting things you can do where, like, for example, I'm not sure. I'm not saying like this is what should happen, but for example, like a keyword speeder, you can change the rules to where it provides a dodge token. So every time you use speeder 1, you get a dodge token. So every unit would get that, for instance. Or for instance, say I think this was a good suggestion I've read on the internet, and people were saying so the bark speeder is quite expensive at the moment, and if you take a heavy weapon on it loses so it goes from speed 3 to speed 2, and somebody actually pointed out, wouldn't it be cool if it just gained like 2 health or 1 health from gain a side card, which would make sense, and that would be quite cool, I think. So you're not just losing losing speed for no reason. You lose speed, but you gain a bit of health.
Yeah, I agree. That would be a good change.
There's a lot of like clever things like that, but I'm not gonna speculate. There's a lot of people who are much smarter than me doing this kind of stuff, so I'm just gonna leave it for them to do.
Yeah, that's it, and it's nice to speculate and have your thoughts and stuff like that. But I think FFG do a good job with the game in general. So I think we leave it to the experts and see what we get. And and if things aren't balanced after this change, you know that they can always change it again, and that's fine. And that's what I like about Legion. They're constantly working and developing the game. But Nick, who do you want to see come down and changed or whatever?
I'd have to go with my mate Baba. I just think he's overlooked, and everyone just takes Bosk if they're going to take a bounty hunter.
Yeah,
with the Empire.
Yeah.
Whereas I would take Baba. Like, I'm not bothered about the points, but I do think if he had a points drop, he'd get took a lot more.
Is Baba 140 naked?
He's 140, yeah.
And Bosk is 115. Is that right?
115.
So if Baba was 115 and you had a choice, I think yeah. I think I still
I think I say Bosk anyway.
I do like Baba. I like Baba over Boskies. The red die save and the surge. You can rely on him a little bit more, but Bosk he's just deadly from range 4 anyway, which is always nice.
There's a fable going around on the internet, and it's about somebody one-shotting the airspeeder with Bosk. So I still like my Bosk, man. I think Bosk is potentially the best operative currently.
Oh, that's a bold statement. I don't know. I don't think he's better than fucking Jedi Luke.
Well, yeah, but the what do you call it? The Empire can't take Jedi Luke, though, can they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I just think if he drops points with Baba, I think at the moment it's if you're going to take one of them, you just take Bosk regardless of how you want to play. But I think if Baba gets a points drop and you're playing a list where you want to get up close, I think you take Baba.
Yeah.
If he gets dropped in points.
Yeah, Baba's definitely better at doing objectives than Bosk. So he does give you that flexibility, doesn't it, I guess. So
yeah. But Bosk goes well with your gun line, with the range 4 weapon and everything. I mean, sadly, we can't take Jedi Luke in every faction, but yeah, Bosk is gonna have to do.
Okay, so should we get into the meat and bones of the podcast then and start with Anakin?
Go. But so he comes in at 160 points. So he's on the cheap side. So he's got Jump 1. He's got Gemso Mastery, and that's a new one. That's the first time we're seeing it. And it's while defending, if you spend a dodge token, you gain Surge to Defend. And you obviously cancel. If you cancel a hit or a crit, the attacking unit takes a wound, basically. So that's a guaranteed deflect. So I like that ability. So we can talk about that in a minute. He's also got a keyword called Flawed, and that's the first time we're seeing that. He comes with a Flaw card, and that's the card you give to your opponent, and your opponent can play it whenever the condition is met. And we'll talk about the cards in a minute. And that's basically something your opponent can do. And I guess we'll see that in the future with other units as well. He's immune Pierce, and he's got Tempted. And Tempted is also a new keyword. And Tempted means he can take dark side upgrades, which is quite cool. Just goes with his character, I think. And he's got 2 force power upgrades, and he's got 2 training upgrades. And like I said, 160 points. He's got no surges natively. He's got Impact 3 and Pierce 3, and his lightsaber is 5 red. So 5 red, just like Operative Vader. So it's just there's some lines drawn here and there. So he's a cool character. But yeah, so overall, I think Gemso Mastery is quite cool. So it takes away the lottery from the deflect. So it's a guaranteed wound if you spend the dodge token. So you don't have an ability to then roll 2 or 3 surges and inflict 2 or 3 wounds back, but it's a guaranteed hit. So I don't know what you guys think about that, but I think I prefer that instead of the usual like lottery, see if you can return 1. This is a guaranteed return 1 wound back.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's good. I think more than anything, Anakin with the dodge on is then just a massive deterrent to attack because you just know you're taking
Anakin with a
wound.
dodge, Anakin with like 2 or 3 dodges, you know, like would you even want to shoot at him? Because you're guaranteed to take 3 hits pretty much. You know, especially if he can dodge, say, crits, like then what? So that's quite interesting. So he's quite cheap for what he is, but then he's got a lot of command cards, and every one of his command cards has the keyword permanent. So when you play them, he gains whatever the text is on the card. So let's just go through. Let me see the floor card. I'm just going to read that out. So the floor card, the timing on the floor card is important. But we'll talk about that in a second. So the floor card says you may play this card at the start of the command phase if there is an enemy Anakin Skywalker with at least 1 suppression token. The enemy Anakin Skywalker cannot be issued orders. So that's a big deal, basically, I think. So potentially, you know, if you're going to dive in with your Anakin and you sort of leave him in a bad position, like vulnerable, and you're trying to go for your 1 pip, somebody can play this and you can't order Anakin that turn at all. So you're kind of just relying on pulling his token from the back then. And, you know, he could be dead before you pull him. So what are your guys' thoughts on this?
So I thought the floor card, when I saw Anakin at 160 points and what he can do, and when we talk about all these other keyword words that he gets from his other command cards, I thought the floor card would be more of a disadvantage. I think it sounds really bad to start with, like you can't put an order on Anakin, but I think the problem is any good player that plays him, it's too easy for them to manage because, just so everyone's aware, when you play the floor card, it is before you play your orders for the turn. So your opponent knows that you're playing the floor card that turn.
Yeah,
so
that's right. So that's why I said timing is important. So your opponent gets to play this, so they get to decide when they play this, and you get to basically react to it. So it doesn't just automatically cancel out one of your cards. So they will play this, and then you go to pick your command cards. So it's not as bad, I agree, but yeah, continue.
And then the other issue on that is the fact that he has to have a suppression. So you'll see it coming anyway. So if Anakin's got a suppression on him, so it's probably only going to be 3 turns where he's probably going to be suppressed from probably turn 3 onwards, depending if you've dove him in there early. He's probably going to have endurance stapled to him, so he's bringing off 2 suppression a turn plus what he can roll off. I just think there's a lot of situations to make it where it's going to actually be good for the floor card. I think a lot of the time the floor card's just not.
So I think it's worth to point out as well. He cannot be issued orders means he cannot be issued orders. Because I see a lot of people discussing, you know, you can like relay the orders to him, like Padme can pass the orders to him. Like, no, it just means he can't have an order that turn. So you can't pass it on to him, or, you know, you can't give it to him without.
Yeah. So I just think the problem, like you were saying, you've probably dived in with Anakin. If you've done it right, you've ended up in melee, and you can't really be shot that turn, hopefully. So then you've probably got no suppression on you anyway. So then what on the next turn? You're engaged with one of my units. I want to play my floor card, but you've got no suppression. If you have got 1 suppression, you know the floor card's coming and you're probably engaged anyway, so you can't be shot. I've got to go first and then disengage. It gets a little bit messy, and I just don't see that it's that much of a disadvantage, because when we go on to talk about his 3 pip, his 2 pip, and his 1 pip, and the upgrades that he gets, I think for 160.
I think it's worth to point out as well. I mean, the official rules reference hasn't come out yet for all this new stuff, but some people are I guess misunderstanding the floor card, and they think it just stays on permanently. Like it doesn't stay on permanently. You play, as far as we understand, you play it once and it gets burned. So it's only for 1 turn. It doesn't stay on the board forever, and he can't be issued orders for the rest of the game. That's not how it works. But the rest of his cards do kind of add on to his unit card. So let me just see. So the 3-pip we've seen quite a while ago. It's been spoiled for some time. So the 3-pip is called Heroes of the Clone Wars, and it's got a keyword permanence on it, and it gives him Exemplar and Reliable 2. Now, Exemplar on Anakin, I think is quite interesting anyway. But it's a 3-pip, so I think with Anakin, sorry, let me just add on to that. So he gets Exemplar, Reliable 2, and at the end of his activation, if he's not in range of 1 to 2 of a friendly unit, he gains 1 suppression token, which at the start of the game, on turns 1, 2, and 3, it probably doesn't matter because it's always going to be with your army, correct? So it's pretty much a free Exemplar and Reliable 2, and he gets to order himself and 2 other units. So that's a good card. So I think this is the card that you play first.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I was just going to say, I think the only downside to this is if I see Anakin on the table, I will probably be 90% sure.
Yeah, but I think that's like that with a lot of the lists. So the meta lists for Guard at the moment, if you're playing against Rex, you're getting shot with Take That Clankers on turn 1. So it's a 2-pip. I mean, I think this is just going to be a turn 1 play like 90% of the time. Maybe even maybe 100% of the time. It's just, I mean, it gives you Exemplar, it gives you Reliable 2, so you can share the Exemplar tokens with the rest of your army, and so I guess Anakin just becomes a bit of a support character for the first couple of turns. So that's a good 3-pip.
Yeah.
That's a really good card for him. This 2-pip here is You Underestimate My Power. So he's got a keyword permanence again, and it says Anakin Skywalker gains Search to Crit and Master of the Force 1. At the end of his activation, if he didn't perform an attack, he gains 1 suppression. So there's a bit more of a downside on this one because it requires you to attack. So again, the downside to this one is it only orders Anakin, and I guess you play this one just before you dive in. So it gives you access to Master of the Force, and you can start attacking people, so you're not taking suppression to offset the card. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's another good card. I think the Surge to Crit is just good with him, isn't it? 5 red dice, Surge to Crit.
I think this is the one that you can sort of, I'm looking at it. I think it's the one that you can take or leave. It's not a must take. I mean, so if you take an Obi, for instance, like his 2-pip is a must take. I don't see this card as a must take. So if you've got sort of multiple characters with good 2-pips, this is the one that maybe you don't bring. But yeah, I mean, he's got 2 Surge tokens from Reliable 2 anyway. So I don't know how valuable Surge to Crit will be. I mean, it's probably worth to point out, like, he's going to be good against vehicles with all these crits. But yeah, what I don't like is just 1 order on your 2-pip. That's one of the things that kind of puts me off a little bit. But yeah, anyway, so if you play a 3-pip and a 2-pip, now you have Exemplar, Reliable 2, Search to Crit, and Master of the Force 1. So that's a lot of keywords already. And then if we go to the 1-pip, and the 1-pip this is where the fun begins. Anakin Skywalker gains Outmaneuver and Relentless. At the end of his activation, if he was not the first friendly unit to activate during the current round, he gains 1 suppression. So some really good keywords in this one. So Outmaneuver lets you spend dodge tokens to cancel crits, and Relentless. We've seen Relentless on Vader. It's also great because it lets him play the peekaboo, so he can pop out, say, throw a saber and hide. So there's potential for a defensive Anakin as well. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think the Relentless is just, what he needs. It's a good keyword always to have, isn't it? To have an attack after you finish an action. Move action is always good. I think it's where his power's going to lie. to go back to the two people, I think having Surge to crit with Anakin and having another platform to fire support into with clones that's got a crit if you've got the saber
so fire
to
support
throw
with him
is
and
also
say
something to
relentless
consider.
could be really cool. So you could pop out, throw his saber, fire support into that with Surge to crit, and then you could just take a step back behind cover, for instance. So so that could be really interesting as well. But yeah, so I mean, the one thing he doesn't have, and that's a big deal. He doesn't have a command slot. So he's got 2 force upgrades, 2 training upgrades, no command upgrade whatsoever. So what that means is he can't take aggressive tactics, and that's a big deal, especially for Gar. So for people who people who don't sort of understand why aggressive tactics is so good. So aggressive tactics costs 10 points for an upgrade that gives up to 4 search tokens to units with an order token. So if you save at least 1 unit, so the cheapest clone in the game from phase 1 is 13 points. So if you save at least 1 clone with a surge token, you've paid for it already and you've gained 3 points. So the rest is just, so it's like having up to 4 medics potentially in your squad for 10 points. So it's a 10-point upgrade. That's very good.
Yeah, the sharing of the surges for the clones is what makes them so hard to kill. Having a 66% chance to save is what makes them so hard to kill. But I just think the way that they've built Anakin to not have that aggressive tactics is like you said, he is very selfish, and I like that. I think the flavour and the design to Anakin, it's perfect for how he's in the film. That selfish, self-centered, lust for power that he wants. I think you get all of that feel with his command cards and the way that they've built him, the like lore into how he's becoming Vader, having the same attack with the saber as Vader is cool, being able to get relentless on the one pip like Vader. It's just cool. It's so well thought out. Oh, as soon as I've seen it, I think
he's a very,
really
very
like
well
that design.
sort of designed character. So the floor makes perfect sense. The 5 red kind of reminds you of Vader. So, he's got a lot of parallels. Like Gemso Mastery is really cool. It's like a guaranteed hit. So I think there's a lot of different ways to build this guy as well. So obviously you're gonna put force push on him. Like, let's make this clear. Like if you take in a force user, you put in it's the force user tax, right? It's a 10-point upgrade that you're gonna take no matter what happens, pretty much. Now the next one is a bit of a tricky one. So you can take force choke or you can take saber throw. Now, saber throw is good because, like you mentioned, you can fire support into it and you can pop out, throw your saber, and hide with relentless. But force choke on a jumping Jedi is really, really good. So it's a bit of a toss-up for me. I think I prefer force choke to begin with, but, who knows? Like, he hasn't come out yet. No.
Oh, I don't know. I think I would go with the saber throw.
With saber throw, you'd be throwing 3 red dice. If you throw in 3 red dice into cover, you may be getting one hit through. That's the only thing. With choke, you can guarantee to choke like a unit leader to drop an objective token. You guarantee to choke a heavy weapon. Whether if you throw in a saber into heavy cover, you'll just kill a random model.
Yeah, I agree. I don't mean just for like what it can do is. I just think for your clone list, you've got Anakin in there with saber throw. You've no longer got to worry about vehicles. That's it. That's it. That's your tech for vehicles. Do you need to take any weapons with impact? No, because I can just fire support into Anakin with surge to crit, impact 3, PS3. That's fine. You don't need any more vehicle tech.
Yeah, so I think this guy pretty much comes with endurance. So like you take push, you take endurance. I think that's probably obviously, like I said, I think choke and saber throw probably a preference, whatever like playstyle choice maybe. And you have one more training upgrade, and you can take say tenacity if you like, or you can take offensive or defensive stance. And actually, defensive stance is pretty good on him because you can take a dodge, which would give you 2 dodges, and now you can share it with Exemplar, which is really interesting. So there's a few possibilities, but I think endurance you must take, push you must take, and I think just looking at him, he plays. There's no surprise. I think he plays really well with Padme, so I think her stock goes up a little bit, just because like Padme's 1-pip can really help you on your. So if someone plays the floor card against you, I think her 1-pip does a good job of setting it. But so I mean, another character you obviously gonna try and play him with is Obi-Wan. So everybody wants to try Anakin Obi list, because like in two lightsabers, why wouldn't you take 2 lightsabers? That's what the game's about, right? But I think you end up with about 8, maybe 9 activations at a push. So it's an expensive list, and 400 points. You're gonna have to invest into these 2 characters, and I'm not a massive fan of that kind of stuff. It's you're putting like all your eggs into 1 basket, or 2 baskets rather. So
yeah. And I think the thing to like consider as well at the moment is, until we see what point changes happen, I think any lists that you're building now, looking at Anakin and Maul and stuff, could just change anyway, because the points are just going to be different in November. So
definitely.
Revisit once we see the new changes.
One of his big drawbacks is you kind of have to bring Padme with him, just because how good the synergy is between them.
So, Ilya, going back to when you were saying about Anakin being maybe a bit used as a defensive kind of commander, I've seen a few lists on Tabletop Admiral where they're taking Force Barrier on him, or even Obi, they're taking it on him. What do you think about taking that?
So Force Barrier actually, I think is a big deal for Obi. So I think Force Barrier makes Obi very, very good.
Yeah.
I mean, not that he's bad at the moment. He's pretty good anyway. But it just makes his timing so good. So Force Barrier, I'm sure people have seen it by now. It's a force power. It's exhaustible, and it says while another friendly trooper at range 1 is defending against a ranged attack during the modify attack dice step, cancel either 1 crit or 2 hits. So it's a force power that you can do outside of your activation, and it basically lets you stop a crit or 2 hits. So on Obi, between Guardian keywords and Force Barrier, you can save a lot of men from dying, and you can activate this twice in 1 turn potentially as well. So you wait for them to shoot at you, you Force Barrier something, then you go with Obi, you use Master of the Force to untap it at the end of the turn, and presumably you've taken a dodge, or maybe 2 dodges if you've got defensive stance, and now Obi can Guardian like a couple more and Force Barrier another unit. So I think it makes Obi that much better, and I like playing Obi. He's a good character anyway. So I think between defensive stance and Force Barrier, Obi just becomes even better.
It does, but it makes that choice to go between Obi and Anakin even more difficult, doesn't it? Because clones are hard to get off the table anyway. So Obi with Force Barrier, I'm just holding my head and just shaking my head at the minute, just the thought of it.
Yeah, I think for Force Barrier, I think just single-handedly makes Obi that much better. So for instance, I'll give you an example. So there's a lot of like solo Rex lists going around right now, but say after the points balance and Force Barrier, so maybe Kenobi lists are just as good or maybe better than like solo Rex lists. So maybe you're going to see a lot more like solo Kenobi lists after the points balance. So if the clone if the Rex lists get kind of hammered a little bit, maybe you just start bringing Obi and a different kind of list altogether, because he's very good at keeping your clones alive. and yeah, so like putting force barrier on your like Anakin or on your Obi, you get to play as a linebacker a little bit. So you sit back for the first 3 turns, and you take a lot of dodges, and you use your force barrier to try and preserve as many men as you can. And I guess turn 4, 5, 6, you just go in and kind of go nuts, with your lightsabers, ideally. But yeah, force barrier is something I really, really like. On Anakin and an Obi, I mean, think about this. Yeah, how about you bring Anakin and Obi, and both of them have force barrier? How about that?
Yeah, it's not.
Now you can force barrier each other if you want to. That would be cool.
It's also good. But it's also going a little bit off topic. It's also very good on Palpatine.
Yes, it gives him something to do. Yeah. He is good at him. I mean, he has 3 force slots, hasn't he?
Yeah, 3.
I think it's 3.
The Master of the Force 2. So there's always that, like with Palpatine, when you're using him, you're not getting the most out of that second Master of the Force or third Force upgrade slot. So now I think that's just perfect for him. You can protect your Royal Guard, and your Royal Guard can protect you. It makes them 2 units energize together really nicely.
Yeah, so force barrier is very. I mean, like previously, I was taking force reflexes on my Obi, but the timing on force reflexes is a little bit weird because it's a Jedi, and you want to go as late as possible. But with force reflexes, you want to activate him early, so you've got that. You want to activate him and take a dodge and force reflexes or whatever, so you can get some value. But now you don't have to do that because you got force barrier, and you just use it whenever you need to. And then after you used it, you can, activate your Anakin or Obi-Wan and like ready your force power again, and you can use it that same turn again potentially. So yeah, it's really, really interesting. I think what lets Anakin down a little bit, I mean, I don't know if it's much of a drawback, but for me it is anyway. You kind of have to bring Padme with him. So the synergy is very, very good just with Padme, and she's got Exemplar, so she can, she can share her surge token, her dodge token with Anakin as well. And the command cards that she has are very good with him. So he can have a free move, a dodge, and Padme's 1 pip can actually help you offset the floor card. So when you can see the floor card coming, you just play Padme's 1 pip instead, and you can take all the suppression off him, take a bunch of dodge tokens, and share that with Anakin, so he could potentially survive.
Yeah.
But just a closing out thought from me. I don't know how competitive it's going to be because there's a lot of hoops you got to jump through when building a list with Anakin. So he's a commander. So like I said, you have to bring force push and you have to bring endurance. So that's 176 points for a commander that you still have to bring, say, Padme for another 90 points to kind of offset some of his downsides. And on top of that, you've got the suppression mini game where you're constantly trying to offset suppression on Anakin. So yes, he gets stronger, and yes, he's undercosted if you take into account all his command cards. But I think if you don't play him correctly, I think he will just get kind of nailed, and you will be very salty because you lost him. So I think there's a very, very high skill cap. I don't think it's something that, Jedi in general are hard to play, but I think he's not as simple, he's not as straightforward as it might look. I think you need to figure out which order you want to play your command cards in. So I think your 3 pip goes first, and I think maybe the 1 pip on turn 3. So obviously on turn 2, you're going to have to figure out something else to play. And then his 2 pip, I think, is the last card you play, maybe. So I think you go 3 pip, 1 pip, 2 pip, potentially, depending on what's going on. So I think he's got quite a high skill cap. And I can see being salty because, you're not playing him optimally, and he kind of just gets, he gets his floor card and he kind of gets nailed. Yeah. And, you'll have a very sad Anakin.
Okay, so I think that covers everything there is to cover with Anakin. Should you have a look at Maul?
Yes.
Pull his card up.
Do you guys
Go,
want?
yeah, go through his card for us, please, because I haven't got him on my screen.
Yeah, Nick, do you want to go through this?
Yeah, I can do if you want. I've got his card.
Go on then.
Okay, yeah.
Go for it, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so I've got Maul's card. He's 160 points, red defense, 6 wounds, 3 suppression. He's got jump 1, deflect, he's immune to pierce, and he's got Juyo mastery, which is while you are wounded, you can perform one additional action, during your activation, and that's limited to 2 move actions. He's double-bladed lightsaber. He's 4 red, 4 white with impact 2 and pierce 2. So I like him.
Upgrades. He's got what's his upgrade slots, Nick?
He's got 2 force and 2 training.
He's a good unit, 100%.
Very iconic as well. Can't wait to see him.
Yeah, he looks good.
Yeah, so there's no flaw in this one.
No flaw.
But yeah, 4 red and 4 white. Impact 2, pierce 2. I think you have to point out what he doesn't have is ability to convert any surges natively. So he doesn't surge to block, he doesn't surge to defend, he doesn't surge on attack, and he hasn't got any like critical keywords as well. So like your surges are just straight up nothing. He doesn't have Master of the Force natively as well, but you do have Juyo Mastery, which kind of acts in a similar way. So it gives you a free action, so you can take a recover action potentially. So he also doesn't have, what we all like to see on like a lightsaber wielder is so say relentless or charge. So one of those keywords he doesn't have also. But again, I think Juyo Mastery is kind of there to offset that a little bit, because you get 3 actions, so you can move, attack, move, or you can move, aim, recover, whatever. So that kind of stuff. But I think he's a very well balanced character. I mean, his attack definitely looks scary. It's 4 red. You can put tenacity on him. So you've got 5 red potentially at that point. So it's 5 red, 4 white. Say you have an aim or 2, it's a lot of damage.
Yeah, I think the Juyo mastery for him is the key to him. The character comes alive once he gets that, doesn't he? Like Anakin gets his upgrades from his cards. He gets that once he gets his first wound, which we can take a look at his command cards in a minute. He can give himself a wound from his command cards. I think once he gets that wound and can do the 3 actions, I know you mentioned charge and relentless. You can almost say having a 3rd action is better than charge or better than relentless, because it allows you to do things out of sequence. Like, for example, when we was talking earlier off air, you can, with Maul, you can move, force push, then attack. You can't do that with a relentless or charge, because it doesn't sequence right with force push. It gives him a really good threat range.
Yeah, that's right. So it increases his range from just under 2 to just under 3, basically, because now he can double move, he can push you, and then he can attack you. So he's got a bigger threat range. That's right. But yeah, I think you're right. So Juyo Mastery is kind of the key to him, and he's got a 1-pip card that lets you take a wound if you like, and that's optional, which is also very good. So any effect that gives you an option whether to do it or not is always better. So you don't have to take that wound if you don't need to. You can just say, I'm not taking that wound. I've already got one. But I think he comes.
Go on, sorry. Carry on, sorry.
Yeah, I think you take tenacity on him because he wants to be wounded, and that will give him an extra red die. So like tenacity on most lightsaber wielders is very, very good, and like on him it's even better. You can just activate tenacity yourself if you need to.
Yeah, I agree. I think tenacity is the one that will be stapled to him.
Yeah, and again, you can take saber throw, so you can like move out of cover, throw your saber, and then move back into cover. So that's almost like Relentless, but better because it gives you more options, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. The Geo Mastery just gives you more options on how you use the things, and options are never bad, are they? For circumstances in the game. But I think before we go on talking, I think we should look at his command cards because they do play quite a big role in the Geo Mastery and how you're going to use more. So, Nick, do you want to read through his command cards?
Yeah, so he's got 2 1-pips. So at last, he counts as a 3-pip when you're building your command hand. And that is, while building a command hand, treat this card as it has 3 pips, Maul gains 1 aim token, and Jedi Hunter, when he activates, he may suffer 1 wound. And then, let me just get the other ones up.
So should we talk about that one first? Yes, we do that, and then import. So the Jedi Hunter gives him surge to crit, doesn't it, when he's fighting Jedi?
Yeah.
So when he's fighting anyone with a Force upgrade slot, he gets surge to crit,
So that's good already for him and his white dice, and not having a natural surge. So that's good. But the key, like you just said, Lee, the key is being able to put that wound on yourself, trigger your Geo Mastery, it turns on your tenacity. And if you've already been shot from a distance, maybe by a sniper or something like that, you don't need to put that wound on yourself, and you don't have to.
Yeah, so you could potentially, I think, one-shot some Jedi with this guy here. So you could be throwing 5 red, 4 white, surge to crit, as an unsuspected Jedi, and I think you could potentially one-shot. I mean, I don't know the maths. I'm sure people will work it out at some point, but I think you're looking at quite a few hits here.
Yeah, the Pierce won't obviously kick in because all the Jedi first users are immune to Pierce. But, the chances are then as well you could possibly have 2 aims with that if you took offensive push and one of your actions when you've moved in is an aim. You've then got 2 aims. There's lots you can do for that big first in attack. So I think
you can take offensive stance and offensive push. That's your 3 aims.
No, yeah.
So that's 3 aims, isn't it, going in?
Yeah,
if you potential Jedi dead.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so it's got some unique stuff that we've not seen in the game yet, and I think that's cool. It's new stuff. It's new game design. It's just cool, and just the fact as well. We've kind of just brushed over it there when you said it, Nick. But he's got 2 1-pips. That's just insane.
Yeah. It's very good, and I think his other 1-pip is also very good when you play it straight after his first 1-pip. Yeah. So maybe Nick can just read it out for us so we can have a look.
Which one? His other one?
Yeah, it's the Duel of Fates.
Duel of the Fates. Maul gains 1 dodge token and disengage. While Maul is engaged with an enemy unit, that unit cannot spend aim, dodge, standby, or surge tokens.
So so you get disengaged, but more importantly, it stops the unit you engaged with, spending dodges, standbys, aims, or surges. So, for instance, I'll go back to Obi. So natively, Obi-Wan doesn't surge to defend. So a lot of his, protection comes from dodge tokens. So like his 2-pip grants 1,000,000 dodge tokens. So this card just straight up says you cannot spend dodge tokens or surge tokens. Mm-hmm. So, defend my attack or die.
Yeah. And basically, like you said, you queue this up. So you've spent your first 1-pip. At last, you move in, you have your attacks, you play your next 1-pip, so likely you can get to go first. And even if you don't, your opponent can't spend any aims to try and kill you. You've got disengage, so you can have 1 attack. Then you can disengage and double move away and still have a dodge on. That is such a hit and run tactic on a Jedi or on any main character, really. That is just so in and out. But then it is just so good, and I just can't wait to get that on the table. But then once Nick's read the 2-pip out as well, there's another play that you can make with the 2-pip and just string his 3 cards together. And I just think it's such an awesome play with Maul. So do you want to read it 2-pip, Nick?
Yeah. So it's a Phantom Menace. So it's Maul and 1 trooper, and Maul cannot attack. Enemy units beyond range 2 of Maul cannot attack him. But you can also divulge this some more gain infiltrate, and during the first round, Maul and friendly Sith probe droid units cannot perform objective card actions.
Yeah. Okay, so this is it. I'm not too fussed about the divulge and having him infiltrate, to be honest. I think he's good enough without infiltrate. I like the fact that he can't be attacked.
Yeah.
So let's say turn 1 or turn 2, you've played this card and you just move Maul up into a threat range. So you're out of their range, so they can't attack you. But you already know that you're just shy of range 3. That's your threat range, isn't it? So you don't even need cover. You can't be attacked.
You can be so enemy units beyond range 2 of Maul cannot attack him. So you can't be attacked at beyond range 2. So you can still get like hand-to-hand combat or whatever. But you can still get shot at under 2.
No, but early game when you know none of their units are close to you and you're setting up your last card, your 1-pip. So you've played this, you stay out of their threat range, knowing that you've got this big move coming up where you can move someone. So it allows you to just be out of heavy cover and not really much danger because you can't be attacked. You then play your 1-pip. You move that almost range 3. You attack. You play your final 1-pip. You have one more attack and you move away to safety. I think it should.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, so you use this to get in basically. Yeah. So you use this to kind of get in safely, so you don't get pot shotted, like ahead of time, and then you just like combo the 2 pips after each other. Yeah, man, it looks really good. But again, I think like both his 1-pips are just Maul, isn't it? So you can only order Maul. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's so you're gonna have to order Maul, and this is Maul and 1 trooper. So yeah, pretty selfish too. So it's no good commander.
Droids are not so much bothered having HQ uplinks on your droids and changing because it doesn't affect you as bad as what it will the clones and Anakin, I don't think. And what's that new card that it's just come out? It's 5 points and you can give yourself an order. What's it? I can't remember what it's called. Seize the initiative.
Yeah.
That's another good upgrade to potentially have on Maul as well. Because if you're running in with Dooku, on Dooku 1-pip, you because he's got cunning. If you're running in with Dooku, that is, it's another way to get another order on Maul on a 1-pip as well. There's some synergies that you can just run with the droids that I'm really excited about, to be honest.
Look at it this way as well. You can now have General Grievous, you can have this guy, and you can take Dooku. How many lightsabers is that?
Well, if you count 3 lightsabers, it's a lot of lightsabers, isn't it?
It's like 7, isn't it? Like 4 lightsabers plus 2 plus 1. It's 7 lightsabers.
It's nuts. To be fair, I'm not sure you're going to run all them 3. Maybe for a fun game, but I think Dooku and Maul could be quite a threatening list.
Yeah,
definitely.
You can definitely run Dooku, Maul, Grievous, and I think like 5 B1s, and there you go.
What more do you need?
Well, I've got to say, this is definitely turning into like what I always imagined, like a big Jedi battle. It's Star Wars. I want to see like Maul against, Anakin and Obi, like Maul and Dooku against Obi and Anakin. It's just basically like a massive Jedi like versus Sith battle.
Yeah, playing out all your favourite scenes from the movies on a table is basically what you want to do, isn't it? And having all the characters finally coming into the game it's going to allow you to do that. So
it's like cool. When we played the Lord of the Rings game, and it's like when there was a big fight between 2 named people, it was so much more like than just dwarfs against elves.
Yes. You want to see who's going to get the better of it, and obviously having the variance of the dice. So it just allows for more moments where you roll your 6 dice, you have 6 attacks, and then you fail and you kill their hero and you can celebrate, or you have a bad dice roll and you can't believe it. It just adds them sort of moments to your games, and now the memorable moments when you come away from a game. What you remember is you'll remember Darth Maul killing Anakin, won't you? You won't remember your B1 squad that killed 2 rebels over the other side of the table. It's not a memorable moment. That's what I mean. We're looking forward to that sort of thing. But what do you think about infiltrating more? Because when I looked at Maul's card, I was just like, okay, infiltrate's a nice bonus to have, but I can't see myself wasting the 2-pip to infiltrate him.
I think that non-infiltrating him gives you more.
Yeah.
I think the fact you can get him out in the open, technically, you haven't got to maneuver your way across the board so much. I think you get a lot more from playing it as just a 2-pip than divulging it.
And that was my initial thought as well.
Whereas with Vader, you want to, don't you? He moves at 1.
Yes, you want to
Like
get him up there.
it's-
And the other thing with Vader's is if it's recover the supplies, you can just start on the middle box and take it. This with Maul, you can't interact with objective tokens. It's limited.
Yeah. So for me, like the Jedi kind of, and the Sith, the lightsaber wielders, they kind of come in two categories. So the striker or a support character, or like a linebacker, people call it. So this guy's definitely a striker. So someone like Obi-Wan would be a linebacker. So Obi-Wan wants to stick with the army and kind of protect them for a bit. This guy wants to sort of like go ahead and start butchering units, and then your army can just mop up the rest, which is sort of the opposite of what Obi does, kind of thing.
I think that the divulge is more for the probe droids. Do you think, to get them up the board?
Yeah, let's go over the probe droids. Have you got the card up, Nick?
Yeah. So the probe droids are 35 points, 1 wound, 1 courage. You get 3 of them. They've got observe 3. She's choose an enemy unit at range 1 to 3 and in line of sight, and it gains 3 observation tokens. With a detachment of Maul, they've got hover, which is air 1, which is while moving they ignore terrain height 1 or lower, and they've got incognito. And they've also got a melee attack and a ranged attack at 1 to 2.
Nick, sorry,
1.
how many wounds?
1
wound.
each. Yeah.
1 each, yeah.
But they've got incognito.
Okay.
And the surge to hit and surge on defense as well.
So you could infiltrate Maul, detachments, the probe droids, yeah, and like complete an objective, for instance. Yeah, so pick up the box with the droids or something like that.
No,
so there could be some.
No, the droids can't do it either.
It stays on the card, Lee, on the command card.
Okay. I didn't realize that. Fair enough.
But I think you choose to get them straight away at range 3, and it.
Yeah.
So you can straight away put the use observe 3.
So the observation tokens are quite interesting. So they're new as well. So the observation tokens can be spent by any other unit that's attacking something that's been observed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm not sure on the timing of this. Do you have to can you do it one by one, or do you have to do it all together? I'm not sure on that.
I think it kind of just works like an aim. So you'll have your 3 observation tokens, and you'll roll your attack pool. If you want to re-roll any one of them dice, you re-roll one. You use one of your observation tokens. That's how I believe it works. Obviously, the rules aren't out yet, are they? I don't think for it properly.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But do you have to declare? So can I re-roll one by one? So say I've got 3 observation tokens to use. Can I just re-roll 1 dice 3 times?
Yes, I think so. Like you would if you've got multiple aims. I think you can. Yeah. I think you can.
Okay.
So they're not bad. They're not bad at all.
Well, I think so. They are special forces, and I think that's probably the biggest downside for them. So they're a special forces unit. So they compete with the sniper teams, and the sniper teams currently are very, very good. So you need a very good excuse not to take the snipers currently in this day and age. So if you bring in 2 snipers for whatever reason, so maybe you bring this as your third special
Forces.
what do you call it?
Forces.
Yeah, special forces. That's right. If you bring in 3 snipers, there's no way you're going to drop a sniper to bring this. I don't think.
No, I don't think so either. I think the snipers are just more powerful, aren't they? They give you more.
Yeah.
The snipers are just too good. This just can't compete with the snipers, I think. But don't get me wrong, there might be some crazy stuff you can do, and we'll leave that for people who are smarter than us to figure out. But at first glance, it's cool. It's a neat idea. Observation tokens are interesting, but I think I want the snipers more than I want this.
It's like you said. I agree. You want the snipers more, but it is more cool game design. And I do think in the specialist pack that the droids are getting, there is one of these droids in that pack. So you're gonna see observation tokens elsewhere in the CIS forces and stuff. So you might be able to just put it into a normal unit and stuff, I think.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing is, so their attack is 2 white dice and it's suppressive. You just send them an Anakin and load him up with suppression, and then you can play your floor card.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But yeah, anything else to add on Maul?
No, I think he's a cool character. I think he's pretty well balanced, at first glance. And I think people have been waiting for him for a long time. I think his sculpt is really cool. The 2 lightsabers. There's two different positions you can have him in. But the dual lightsaber is really cool.
I think there's 3 different positions.
There is 3 poses.
Is there 3? Okay.
To be fair, I've got him on pre-order, so when he comes, my plan is to get him built and painted as quick as possible, and then get him on the table for a battle report that week. So hopefully, once he's out, guys, we'll get him out and on the table and filmed as quick as possible for everyone to see what he's about.
I think it's worth a mention as well that on his 1-pip Duel of the Fates, Qui-Gon Jinn's on there.
He is, yeah.
Just
does that mean we're getting Qui-Gon?
Yeah, if it's just a little teaser on the card there, maybe.
Yeah, and they do say that, don't they? Everything that has appeared on cards and stuff has eventually come out in the game.
Yeah,
so maybe that would be cool. That would be.
Well, I think it's also worth pointing out that this fella gets cut in half and doesn't die. Spoiler alert.
Oh, spoiler alert.
and Qui-Gon gets poked in the belly and he's dead.
That is true. But yeah.
Hang on, he gets cut in half and he falls down a shaft and he doesn't die.
He doesn't die, no. He doesn't. No.
Crazy. But I'll enjoy cutting him in half with my Obi-Wan.
Well, fair enough. Okay.
Lee, you should magnetize Maul where you can separate the 2 halves. I've heard that suggested somewhere. That'd be really cool.
Just cut my model in half down the middle, add some. To be fair, I don't plan on getting him cut in half, to be honest. So.
I can't remember who said that. He might have been on one of the podcasts. I can't remember now, but that's a cool idea. I just thought it was a really cool idea.
Is that it? I haven't got anything to add to that, guys. Have you?
No.
Okay.
No, I think that's it. I think it's cool. He's gonna saber throw 5 red dice with tenacity. Oh, that's great. I'm looking forward to that.
Is it 5 red dice with tenacity? No, I think tenacity is only melee, isn't it? I think.
No, I think. Hang on. Let me just get it up and we can have a look.
Yeah, tenacity is melee.
Melee only.
Oh, is it melee? Okay, 4 red dice then. Never mind. Ignore me.
But right, so I think we've covered enough there, to be honest, guys. So I think should we leave our series of units we want to see or imaginary things for the game for another week?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So
yeah.
Cool, guys. If you're enjoying the podcast and the channel in general and our battle reports, remember to subscribe and click that bell. Hopefully now we're very close to the 1,000 by the time this podcast comes out. So hopefully you can help us just get over the finish line and hit the 1,000 within our first year. Check out our other platforms. Instagram, we've got our pictures of our painting work going up, and we're also on Facebook and Twitter. And then we also have Patreon. If you want to support us there, you can support us for as little as £1 a month, and that goes helping us put new units on the table and keep the studio running. So, thank you for all the support, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast, and we are planning for our next podcast, episode 4, to have our first special guest on. So we're just trying to work out the time zones to get a time that suits us all best. So, but hopefully we could have that sorted for the next episode. So, anything from you, Ilya, before we go?
No, I think that's it, mate.
Cool. Nick?
No, that's it.
Okay, excellent. Take care, everyone. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.